half centuries. The last time she passed the mark, she went on and hit 170 against England in the World Cup final. Might be just ominous signs here for India today.
Very often going much faster, but this has been a fighting innings, a smart innings as well when Phoebe Litchfield has been going so well in this game. She's batting at 107.
First half century as the full-time skipper for Australia as well. It's been an impressive start for her career, having already ticked over a series win against India, winning the first ODIs as a leader. There's always something about coming back to those sort of personal milestones as well. It'd be a nice little insight into just the stress and strain of becoming the Australian captain too. She's been, some would say, off form, hasn't got the runs that she would have liked over the last little bit, but she's sort of been the temporary captain of Australia while Meg Lanning sort of came and went a little bit. So she's sort of in that temporary space in terms of leading this side now. She's got full reins. She's going to try and put her own stamp on captaining this very successful team already, but there's probably a different way in which Alyssa Healy wants to go about things, the style of play, transitioning young players into the team like Litchfield and Annabelle Sutherland, who have done so well.
But if there was one team that should want to take her as captain, it would be this Australian team. It runs like a well-oiled machine, very little to tinker about or tweak. Everyone in the squad knows what's expected of them and what they need to do, or what the kind of ability they have, the kind of experience they have. Also, as you mentioned, the transitioning of young players coming into the side. Phoebe Litchfield, for example. The way she's come and taken to international cricket, like duck to water.
From one national captain to the other. Shibani, how did you see the 50?
It's been a brilliant 50, 137-run partnership already. 4 4s and 2 6s. Very smart cricket. She did, even when she used her feet, didn't always go on the offensive. She did defend a few here and there. She's taken her time, but it's been brilliant. Always special to lead from the front. Yes, you want your team to do well, but even better when you can contribute to it. 22 overs gone, 138 for none.
जब बात हो देश की मिट्टी की, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं जो हमें अलग कर सके। और इसी जज्बे के साथ कजारिया देश की मिट्टी से बनी टाइल से देश को बनाते हैं।
The Goliath of T20 cricket welcomes David in his den. Can Afghanistan continue their giant killing spree to stagger the might of India? Watch IDFC First Bank India vs Afghanistan T20 International Series. Starts January 11th. Live on Jio Cinema and Sports 18.
Minimal runs scored to the leg side through square and behind the wicket, and that's a little bit of because of the line in which India's bowled to Alyssa Healy. They've been sort of that fifth stump line, if not wider. It's the 6 bowlers used by Harmanpreet Kaur today. As Healy goes straight, very, very straight indeed. The only question is how far? Far enough for the maximum. And that ticks over Australia's best ever partnership for the opening wicket against India.
brilliant feet. Straight down the ground. More offside. There was a long on in place and a mid off. So she picks her spots so very well, does Alyssa Healy.
They've already gone up for one against Alyssa Healy playing this shot today. They used their review and they're going to use another one here.
Director, we have players review for leg 4. Given not out, it's a fair delivery. Please start with front on spin vision. Ball passing close to the back. Can you please go to ultra edge? Keep rolling. Keep rolling, please. Satisfied, no bat involved. Please go to ball tracking. Pitching in line, impact in line, wickets missing, original decision not out. Please go to on-field umpire. Sai, state the decision of not out. You're on screen, signal now.
Good initial call from the umpire. And because it was given not out initially, the conversation then has to be between captain and bowler and wicketkeeper. It has to be clattering into the stumps to be overturned. We've got that completely wrong, India. Now they have no more reviews to use. And in between the boundaries, they can just pick up singles, easy singles like that as well.
There's that appeal again. They went upstairs for it. But it's the angle. She's bowling from around the stumps. Ball didn't turn too much either. Going on with the arm, with that angle, and taking it away from the stumps.
One bounce to mid-on as Phoebe Litchfield calls and runs on the shot and gets a single comfortably. Chipped in the air to space there from Alyssa Healy, and chipped so well that she almost thought she had the boundary to the total, but some sharp fielding. Shelley Nitschke, sorry Shell, you've just lost a record. You and Alex Blackwell had the opening partnership record of 140 against India. You're now second on the list. $149 for none.
Namaste Bharat, the SI20 League is back. The second season of this T20 safari is going to get wilder. With twice the energy, excitement and drama. You're all invited to join us in this carnival starting 10th January. Catch the action live only on Geo Cinema and Sports 18.
Alex Blackwell, that was the match in which she'd hit 350s. Healy and Litchfield now have the record against Australia for that first wicket partnership.
3 of the partnerships Healy is involved in.
There's that bottom hand coming into play, and it just got enough angle to make sure that wasn't enough time to get around and offer a catching opportunity.
Well, number 2 on the list, but I just think the fact that you're a coach of the team that's motoring along to a series win might just soften the blow.
Missed everything except for the boundary. More extras and a little bit more pain there for India.
Difficult for Richa Ghosh, much fuller on this occasion. With that angle, it just keeps going away.
Gets across into a better position here, does Richa Ghosh, to get something on it, so restricts any additional extras. Shelley Nitschke now, the head coach, having taken over from Matthew Mott, had a stellar career with the Australian team, ICC Cricketer of the Year, multiple winner of the Belinda Clark Medal at the Cricket Australia Awards. First into the team in 2004 on a tour of India, following a left arm orthodox spin, and then got an opportunity to push up the order whereby she was opening the batting for many a year as well.
Brilliant work by Shriyanka Patil there at point.
A leave like that says to you that these batters they're in, but they're looking to go big. They're not just throwing anything at it in the hope anymore. They'll say, right, we're going to take that extra. Thank you very much. We'll get the extra delivery.
That's exactly why I think India need to take a punt here. Be a little bit more aggressive in the field setting. Try and look for that wicket. Maybe get a slip in, or if the spinner's bowling just for a little while, you get someone at silly on a short leg. Not because you think that's really going to get you a wicket there, just to work on the ego of the players, of the batters. Make them think, oh, listen, we're batting on 50, it's a 160-run partnership unbroken. You've got a silly punt and a short leg in place for us. We're going to try and do something different. We're going to try and, because if India don't do that right now, at the current rate as 338, but with 10 wickets in hand, you think with the kind of striking ability that the batters possess down the order, it could be a bit more. So this is the time where you take that little bit of a punt, a little bit of a risk, and try and pick up a wicket, and hopefully one brings 2 and so on, and then just sort of claw your way back into the game.
Well, names first and foremost impressive, but look at those strike rates. 78 to Perry, that's overall, certainly not in the last 12 months. As Litchfield gets going here, she wanted to come back for 2. Healy not interested. So Phoebe Litchfield now back on to strike. She scored the most ODI runs scored by an Australian in the women's game in a calendar year before turning 21. And if you're beating the likes of Meg Lanning, you're going okay. Yep, the ego is in check at the moment for these Australians. 162 on the board, none down. 162 for none after the 24th. In desperate need of a wicket here. As this series has gone on, the footwork from Phoebe Litchfield, particularly coming down the wicket, has just increased with confidence and the ability. Started with just to try and knock the bowlers off their length, then she started to bring in a little punches down the ground, and now she can really extend and go up and over cover through the field. Hilly looks to go big, and she doesn't get all of it. And she was almost going to get enough, but Harmanpreet Kaur, the skipper, does some handiwork on the boundary line.
There'll be a boundary check here, but that was a fantastic piece of fielding. The commitment, she chased it down. And when the ball looked like it was going to go away from her, she still tries to pull it back.
Everyone's getting their eagle eye out now to try and figure out whether or not there was the end of the fingernail, the back of the finger potentially just touching the rope. Finger or ball in touch with the rope at the same time? This is the question. The first part she did exceptionally well, which was not get her legs in front of her, so she's taken the feet touching the rope out of play. Generally know as a fielder whether or not you're touching it.
And now Harmanpreet chasing that down, and although it was agonizingly close to the line, she still pulled it back. Indians switching on here on the field.
Well, you can't ask for more in the field as a skipper, as you would know, and then not give it yourself, can you?
Absolutely, and yes, you've had drop catches in the previous game and all of that, but good fielders, good catchers. Amanjot Kaur, she took a blinder against England in the T20 series. Harmanpreet Kaur herself.
A dot to finish off the 25th, 168 for none. Okay, so we've chatted about India and what they're going to do. I suppose the next chat now is for Australia and what they're going to do, because they've just been building. We talk about the gears in the game of cricket for batters out in the middle and for partnerships. Are they going to flick a bit of a switch here, Australia? One, both. Litchfield 82 not, Healy 70 not. Litchfield at the non-strikers end at the moment.
Just before this over started, they'd gotten 48 runs off the last 30 balls, so 5 overs. So they're going along very nicely, 6.72. And it seems like they're only playing in about a gear 2 sort of situation, not taking many risks. They're not taking on the fielders, just placing the ball beautifully. No need to accelerate any further right now, I'd say.
Just got stuck in the hand a little bit there. Dragged it down, and Litchfield picks up 2.
Well, the reason then it looks like they're in second gear and they're not taking too many risks is because we're in the 26th over and they've got 20 hits to the fence or sixes, which is nearly 1 every over. And if you're getting a boundary nearly every over, you don't need to take risks. You just knock it about for 1s and 2s and you're going at 6 and over.
I think that's the interesting thing with the Australian team, particularly in terms of new captain coming in. You're right, they don't need to take a risk at all to get a big total and probably, have too much on the board almost. Needs to get going. No, can't, because the ball skips across the ground here at Wankhede and picks up yet another boundary.
Come on, guys, come on.
Yeah, just dropping it short was mother than quick to seize on that little error in length. Phoebe Litchfield.
And so when I look at this Australian team, I also know that they're not someone just to rest on their laurels. And so there's an opportunity for them as well to sort of say, new captain, transitioning side, World Cup's coming out. How do we put extra pressure on not just India, but world teams? And say we're 7-time world champs, but we've got a new game style as well. 175 for none.
जब बात हो देश की मिट्टी की, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं जो हमें अलग कर सके। और इसी जज्बे के साथ कजारिया देश की मिट्टी से बनी टाइल से देश को बनाते हैं।
The Goliath of T20 cricket welcomes David in his den. Can Afghanistan continue their giant killing spree to stagger the might of India? Watch IDFC First Bank India vs Afghanistan T20 International Series starts January 11th live on Jio Cinema and Sports 18.
Said awareness is what's lacking, and that's something that needs to be developed by the Indian team. I think along with awareness is just a little bit of belief. I think in that game Australia had probably a little bit more belief because they're used to winning games. They know how to win games from tight corners, from tight situations. But if you keep beating the opposition over and over again, the opposition also feels, how are we going to beat them? What are we going to do? And when you're as dominant as this Australian team has been, it's not just the belief of 1 or 2 players in the opposition. It's got to be a collective belief. All 11 need to believe that, yeah, we go out there, we play our best cricket, we'll beat Australia. And I think that's key.
And I think we saw that recently in the Ashes, where Australia wins the Test match and England fought back beautifully well to win both white ball series. And a big part of that, I think, is just the way in which the England team, just listening to the way in which they spoke about playing Australia, is that there isn't that fear factor anymore that they used to have. Doesn't mean they're always going to beat Australia because they believe they can, but it's certainly a good step forward. Change up, back of the hand, it was picked out of the hand, picked the gap. And once again, some good fielding and support from India. This time, Smriti Mandhana.
Well, just going back to that point about England not having that fear factor when it came to Australia, I think so often someone needs to do something. I read this story about Diego Simeone, the coach at Atletico Madrid, coming up with a disparaging pet name for Messi when Messi was at Barcelona, just so that his players wouldn't be intimidated, just to make him a little bit more human. That his players believe that they could go out there and get the better of Messi and get the better of Barcelona. So you've got to do something slightly different.
A lot of bottom hand and hits that to space, does Elise Healy. It hits and plugs. She'd probably prefer that on the 18th hole than here at Wankhede. Doesn't roll on.
Nice shot, a bit high, doesn't get the distance. But she's been hitting, as you mentioned, to space. She hasn't looked to take on the fielder now that it is long on. She's pulled that wider of long on. When there's no long off, she's gone straight down the ground. Very smart.
Chases the wide one this time, does Elise Healy. Moves on to 77 not out. Australia onto 182 none down. And with that on the board.
The Goliath of T20 cricket welcomes David in his den. Can Afghanistan continue their giant killing spree to stagger the might of India? Watch IDFC First Bank India vs Afghanistan T20 International Series. Starts January 11th. Live on Jio Cinema and Sports 18.
Namaste Bharat. The SI20 League is back. The second season of this T20.
We're loading up the best players in the world for every position. The best forwards, the ultimate defenders, the midfield maestros, the world's best players for all positions play in La Liga. So why watch anything else? Only on Jio Cinema and Sports 18.
You've heard him comment on the players. Now see him enter the field of play. As a coach, as an umpire,
on the buzzer first with Sunbeam Lertara,
as a cheerleader,
in the Ultimate Sports Quiz 2023. It's not just a quiz, but a clash of India's youngest and brightest minds. The Ultimate Sports Quiz 2023.
The Goliath of T20 cricket welcomes David in his den. Can Afghanistan continue their giant killing spree to stagger the might of India? Watch IDFC First Bank India vs Afghanistan T20 International Series. Starts January 11th. Live on Jio Cinema and Sports 18.
That's the same story for the Indian followers. They were waiting for a wicket to go down. It hasn't happened. 27th over, 182 without loss. And the partnership that started from the very first ball for the Australian team has continued. It's just gone stronger and stronger.
The longer this partnership carries on, the farther they'll get away from India. It's been a terrific effort from these two. Made themselves in, but they never got bogged down. They're getting a boundary almost just about every over, which eased the pressure on them. They didn't have to manufacture anything out of the ordinary. And 6 bowlers have been blunted by these two to put up a partnership of 182. 27 overs have been bowled. And Mannat going for quite a few runs, the debutant, but of course, it's all part and parcel of this format of the game. On Sundays, you're really coming back with excellent figures. On different days, you might go for a few runs.
Elise Healy, Phoebe Litchfield. has just gone better with their opening stand. Lizelle and Laura Wolfart, 169 at Lucknow. Certain gentlemen sitting alongside me, W.V. Raman, might remember that innings.
Change in bowling coming right
From Wolfart and Lizelle.
Yes.
W.V. Raman, that is.
I do remember that. Both of them played really well, and Laura Wolfart was on top of her game that particular innings. Displaying some outstanding cover drives, and spinners or pacers alike. She was really good on the day.
And the reason I was asking W.V. Raman, Rohan, is because he was the coach of the Indian women's cricket team when that series was being played in Lucknow.
Yeah, South Africa won that series, but I'm sure there must have been a few positives to take from that.
Coming over.
All I asked Lizelle Lee was if she was carrying enough money for the excess baggage, the kind of runs that she scored in that series.
Now, what's been so impressive is that they've mixed caution with aggression, both Litchfield and Alyssa Healy, even if they've looked to score the maximums 4 so far in the innings for them. It has been a very clear mindset when they're dominating. 4 sixes, 17 boundaries. Deepti Sharma has been given that respect. Only when she's been flighting the ball, Alyssa Healy has come down the track. So they've known exactly how to pace the innings.
Conventional methods adopted by these two openers, except for a couple of reverse sweeps from the left-hander Litchfield. She's also played the ramp on a couple of occasions. Otherwise, it's been a case of them resorting to a conventional approach, playing normal cricketing shots. But yet, the result has been tremendous. 185 runs between these two, of just 172 balls.
She's never seen that before. That was a quizzical expression from Phoebe Litchfield. Deepti Sharma not bowling that ball, just completing the action.
I wonder if it distracts Deepti or the batter.
Neither. She bowled the ball, went straight to point. Phoebe Litchfield were a little upset about not finding the gap there. .185 without loss. It's the first game of 2024. We are at the Wankhede Stadium. India women in the last game of the ODI series against Australia. Pooja Vastrakar returns. Alyssa Healy came in with a full-fledged role of being Australian captain. Competed for this trophy. Knew exactly what she was up against, a quality Indian side who had just beaten Australia in the one-off test match. But has started well and continued the domination in one-day international cricket over India. 9th consecutive one-day international series in the bag.
What she's also done well is that she's not tinkered around with the side too much after winning the series. She's kept the combination going except for a lone change. This is the schedule. The first test is won by India by 8 wickets, and then all these ODIs have been played at the Wankhede. This is the third. And the first two were won by Australia. The first one by 6 wickets, second one by 3 runs. And then we move on to D.Y. Patil. In a couple of days' time for the T20Is. Australia won the previous 9 series against India. 2-0 ahead in this series, third one being played, and starting from 1984, they've had comfortable victories in 9 of the series that's been played between the two sides.
You don't pitch the ball short to Alyssa Healy, who's batting on an 80. But there's no harm testing her, just checking how much the pitch is assisting you.
Come on, girls, come on, come on.
Yeah, you look at that graphic there, WV. I think there's only one series at the look at the shot delivery, just going over the top of the mid-wicket fielder. You look at that graphic. There's only one series where there's a 4-3 scoreline. Otherwise, there are 5 complete routes. Completely routed 3-zip. Oh, played on. There's one way of getting a wicket, a much needed one for India, and it's the Australian skipper once again falling to Pooja Vastrakar.
Wry smile on her face. Unfortunate dismissal this. At last the partnership has been broken. It's Pooja Vastrakar who's picked up the wicket of Alyssa Healy. Looking to play the full shot. Completes the shot too soon, and it ricochets on the hip onto the stumps. Hardly any time for her to react and try and stop the ball from crashing onto the stumps. And Australia lose their skipper for 82, and the score is 189.
Ellyse Perry. She's just waited for 28 overs to get a bat in. Such has been the domination of the two Australian openers. Pooja Vastrakar finally providing the breakthrough to the Indian team. What a way to get off the mark. The continuation of amassing runs continue for Australia. 193 for 1.
Yeah, 189 for 1 when she walks in. 28 overs or 29 overs. It seems as if she's already set. First ball, short ball, dispatched with disdain. Ellyse Perry. These two were brilliant in the first 2 games too.
Phoebe Litchfield into the 90s. She's already got 100 to her name against Ireland at Dublin when she got 106. Not out. And she's just been joined by Ellyse Perry in the centre.
Elise Perry was tested with a short ball by Pooja Vastrakar, and the response was an imperious pull from the batter in form. Starts of the new year well.
As I mentioned, these two were the architects of Australia's win in the first two games too. Big partnership after Alyssa Healy was dismissed for not in the first game, and even in the second game when they batted first. These two had a lovely partnership of 77. Can Deepti Sharma make any inroads? But over here, Alyssa Healy. Mel Jones mentioned that the last time she passed 50, she got 100, and she was well on course to another one before this happened. Yeah, the wry smile. It's just not the way you want to be dismissed.
Yeah, that 100 was not a small 100. It was a massive one. 170 it was against England at the World Cup final in New Zealand. So everyone would have realized, seeing the back of Alyssa Healy, even if it's come at an 82, it's worth it. Good ball, very good ball.
She's been good against the spinners as the left-hander Litchfield. That's because she plays with soft wrists. The wrists are not set. That's why the bat does not come across the path of the ball. Dot ball to end the over. 195 for 1 Australia.
जब बात हो देश की मिट्टी की, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं जो हमें अलग कर सके। और इसी जज्बे के साथ कजारिया देश की मिट्टी से बनी टाइल से देश को बनाते हैं।
The Goliath of T20 cricket welcomes David in his den. Can Afghanistan continue their giant killing spree to stagger the might of India? Watch IDFC First Bank India vs Afghanistan T20 International Series. Starts January 11th, live on Geo Cinema and Sports 18.
There's another left-hander and Beth Mooney to follow before Atalia McGrath for Australia. Lovely, outstanding. Elise Perry with the timing and the flurry. Another boundary for her.
The first boundary was an imperious pull, and this one was a deft touch, allowing the ball to come on to her and playing it behind square, nicely on top of the bounce. Just using the pace provided by Pooja Vastrakar. Look at the way it races to the boundary.
At no point of time in the 200 that Australia has got has it ever looked uncomfortable for them. There's a slightly slowish surface than the earlier 2 one-day internationals, and the possibility that it'll provide more assistance to spinners coming in. The first half century for Australia taking the maximum time, 51 balls. But how nicely the Australian batters have adjusted to the surface.
Yeah, think of what Phoebe Litchfield did. Was striking at around close to 90 in the first game when she got that half century. 60 in the second game where Elise Perry took over. At the end of the day, you need to compliment your partner. And now she's been going at run a ball through the entire innings. It's only now that it's fallen below 100. And just the way Alyssa Healy too, in search for runs, just changed the way she batted. Has been very comfortable, as you said, Anjum. They have not broken a sweat. in humid conditions.
And let's not forget the fact that she was run out without facing a ball in the first innings of the test match. Every innings has been a valuable one for Litchfield.
Yeah, great hands. That has been the feature of her batting. I know just the way she's manipulated the spinners, using her feet, using that reverse sweep to great effect, and then bringing the conventional sweep, keeping them at bay, using going down the track and chipping them towards mid-wicket or cover. So it's been a wonderfully crafted innings from Phoebe Litchfield. She's had the luck as well, the odd one missing the outside edge. But that is something which you need, and that sometimes goes with form as well. 201 for 1.
The Goliath of T20 cricket welcomes David in his den. Can Afghanistan continue their giant killing spree to stagger the might of India?